Whether it was Billy's redemption arc ending in his death or Eddie Munson's devastating final stand, the Duffer Brothers have proven time and again that nobody is truly safe. Now, as we approach the final episodes of Season 5, the question burning in every fan's mind is, who's going to die in the Stranger Things finale? The most obvious candidate for a tragic death has to be Eleven. I know she's literally the main character, and killing her off would be devastating beyond words. But think about what we learned in Episode 5 about the origin of her powers. It wasn't drugs that gave Eleven and the other numbered children their abilities. It was Henry's blood. Dr. K has been trying to restart the program using Callie's blood, but it's not working, so now they're desperate to get their hands on Eleven's blood instead. This discovery completely changes everything about who Eleven is and what her existence means. But here's where it gets even darker. Callie proposed something absolutely chilling to Eleven when they were alone together. She suggested that they sacrifice themselves by staying on the bridge when it's blown up. Callie believes that no matter what they do, the cycle will continue. There will always be another lab, another Dr. K, another attempt to weaponize children with powers. The only way to truly end it, in her mind, is to eliminate themselves from the equation entirely. Now, we don't know if Eleven is actually considering this, but the fact that it was even brought up as an option is terrifying. The show doesn't introduce ideas like this without payoff. Think about Eleven's entire character arc across 5 seasons. She's been running from labs, from her past, from people who want to use her as a weapon. Since the very beginning, she's found a family, found love, found a place where she belongs, but she's also never fully escaped the shadow of what she is and where she came from. A sacrifice that ends the cycle forever would be poetic in the most heartbreaking way possible. It would mean freedom not just for herself, but for any future children who might be subjected to what she went through. The idea of Eleven choosing to stay behind, to blow up the bridge between worlds along with herself while telling her friends and family she loves them one last time. I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. What makes this even more likely is the dynamic we're seeing with Hopper. Their relationship has been strained this season, particularly around Hopper's original plan with the bomb. Eleven felt betrayed because she believed Hopper was planning to die in the process of killing Vecna, sacrificing himself without telling her. Now imagine if the tables are turned, and Eleven is the one who has to make that impossible choice. Hopper has already lost one daughter. Losing Eleven would absolutely destroy him, but it would also be a gut-wrenching full circle moment for their relationship, showing how much Eleven has grown from that scared girl he found in the woods to someone willing to make the ultimate sacrifice to save everyone. Then there's Hopper himself, who honestly has death flags flying all around him. The man has been talking about bombs and sacrifice since the beginning of this volume. He's protective of Eleven to an almost obsessive degree, and he clearly doesn't trust Callie, which creates this tension where you can see him possibly doing something reckless to ensure Eleven's safety. Hopper has always been the self-sacrificing type. It's literally what got him captured by the Russians in the first place. He stayed behind to close the gate, fully expecting to die in that explosion. The show brought him back from that, sure, but maybe that was just delaying the inevitable. What worries me about Hopper is that he's finally gotten his family back together. He and Joyce have clearly rekindled their connection. Elle is back in his life, and things are looking up relationship-wise. In TV drama terms, that's basically a death sentence. Characters who finally get what they want, who finally seem happy and settled, are often the ones who end up dying because their arc feels complete. Hopper dying to protect Eleven, maybe taking Callie's suggestion himself and staying behind to ensure the bomb goes off properly, would be devastating but narratively satisfying. Will Byers is another character I'm genuinely worried about, and honestly, he might be the most likely to die when you really think about it. This whole story started with Will. The entire first season was about finding Will, bringing him back from the Upside Down, saving him from the Mind Flayer's possession. He's been connected to Vecna and the Upside Down longer than anyone else. We learned in these episodes that Will was unknowingly building tunnels for Vecna every night while he thought he was sleeping. Vecna literally called Will his builder and told him he has a lot of power inside him, but only because they're Vecna's powers and they're growing stronger. That connection between Will and Vecna is the key to everything. Will can tap into the hive mind, see through Demogorgon's eyes, and even temporarily take over Vecna's consciousness like he did when he saved Max and Holly. But Vecna also has access to Will's mind, as we saw when he used Will to locate Max in the real world. It's a two-way street, and that makes Will both incredibly valuable and incredibly vulnerable. Vecna has already stated that he plans to use Will as his spy one more time, and Will is terrified of being used by Vecna again to hurt his friends and family. Will's coming out scene was one of the most beautiful and emotional moments of the season, and I'm so glad the show handled it with the grace and love it deserved. But here's the thing, and I hate saying this, giving a character a major emotional resolution and having them finally be free of the fear and shame they've been carrying often precedes that character's death. Will said himself that he didn't want to be scared anymore, that he wanted to face Vecna without that weight on his shoulders. He's found acceptance, love, and support from his friends and family. His arc feels complete in a way that's beautiful, but also ominous. If Will were to sacrifice himself to defeat Vecna, using their connection against him in some final, devastating way, it would bring the entire series full circle. The boy who went missing in episode 1, the boy whose disappearance started everything, would be the one to end it all. There's a poetry to that which the Duffer Brothers absolutely love. Plus, Will has repeatedly expressed guilt about the people who died because of him building those tunnels. A heroic sacrifice would be his way of atoning for something that was never actually his fault to begin with. Steve Harrington is someone I desperately don't want to die, but I can't shake the feeling that he might. Steve has had one of the best character developments in television history, going from douchebag boyfriend in season 1 to the beloved mom of the group who we'd all die for. His friendship with Dustin is one of the purest things about the show, and watching them argue and then make up multiple times in these episodes just reinforces how much they mean to each other. But Steve is also the ultimate protector. He's always putting himself in danger to save the kids, to save his friends, to save literally anyone who needs help. He's taken more beatings than probably any other character on the show, and he keeps getting back up. The scene where Dustin gets emotional and tells Steve he doesn't want him to die is exactly the kind of moment that makes me worried. When characters have these vulnerable conversations where they express how much they mean to each other, it often foreshadows one of them not making it. There's also the whole Eddie situation hanging over Steve and Dustin's relationship. Steve called Eddie dumb for trying to be a hero, saying he didn't actually save anyone, which caused a huge argument between them. But that comment reveals something about how Steve views heroism and sacrifice. He clearly thinks Eddie's death was pointless, a waste, someone trying to be brave when they should have just run. But what if Steve finds himself in a similar situation? What if he has the chance to make a heroic sacrifice that could actually save people, unlike Eddie's death? Would he take it, or would he remember his own words and choose to run? The plan they've come up with for the final battle is absolutely insane and has about a million things that could go wrong. They're going to let Vecna start the ritual to merge the worlds, use that moment to climb into the abyss through the radio tower, save the 12 kids, plant a time bomb next to the exotic matter, and get everyone out before it explodes. Oh, and while all that's happening, Eleven and Callie will be in Vecna's mind trying to stop him, with Max helping navigate and Will using Vecna's own fears against him. It's the kind of plan that requires everything to go perfectly. And we all know nothing ever goes perfectly in Stranger Things. Steve is going to be right in the thick of the action, climbing into the abyss, fighting Demogorgons, probably protecting the kids as they escape. He's exactly the type of character who would stay behind and to make sure everyone else gets out safely. He'd be the one to say, "Go, I'll hold them off," or someone needs to make sure the bomb goes off, and refuse to leave until everyone else is safe. And then maybe he doesn't make it back in time. Maybe the bridge collapses while he's still on it. Maybe he takes a fatal hit protecting one of the kids. The possibilities are endless, and all of them are terrible. Nancy and Jonathan have an interesting situation too. They just ended their relationship in what was actually a really mature and honest conversation. They both acknowledged the good and the bad, admitted things hadn't been working, and mutually decided to part ways. Jonathan even asked her to not marry him instead of proposing, which was oddly sweet in its own way. But now they're going into this final battle as exes who still clearly care about each other deeply, and that's a dangerous position to be in. One of them dying right after they break up would be absolutely crushing. Imagine Jonathan sacrificing himself to save Nancy, proving that even though their romantic relationship didn't work out, he still loves her enough to die for her. Or Nancy dying, and Jonathan having to live with the guilt of breaking up with her right before losing her forever. Either scenario would be heartbreaking, though I think Jonathan is more likely to be the one in danger. He's been somewhat sidelined this season compared to Nancy, and his character arc feels less essential to the overall narrative at this point. Kaylee is another wild card in all of this. We don't know her well enough to be emotionally devastated if she dies, which honestly makes her a prime candidate for a heroic sacrifice. She's the one who suggested staying on the bridge when it explodes, and she seems resigned to the idea that they're trapped in an endless cycle. Kaylee dying to ensure the lab can never restart their program would be impactful without destroying us the way losing one of the core characters would. She could be the sacrifice that allows the others to live. Murray, Mr. Clark, Erica, and some of the supporting characters are also in real danger. Murray has been in increasingly dangerous situations, from infiltrating Russian bases to now storming through a military facility while people shoot at him. Mr. Clark just learned about the Upside Down and is being thrown into this insane final battle with basically no preparation. Erica is brilliant and capable, but she's also still a kid. Any of them could realistically not make it through this. The 12 kidnapped children are in the most immediate danger, honestly. They're literally in Vecna's lair, hooked up to tentacles, being fed mysterious black liquid, and are the key components to his plan to merge world. Holly is specifically being targeted, and the other kids have been manipulated into not trusting her. Derek has been threatened by Vecna and is lying to protect himself. The whole situation is a powder keg waiting to explode. While I don't think the show would kill off a bunch of young kids on screen, that would be too dark even for Stranger Things. There's definitely a possibility that not all of them make it out alive. Here's what I think is most likely to happen. We're going to lose at least 2 major characters, probably 3. My prediction, 11 sacrifices herself to end the cycle, staying on the bridge as it collapses and taking the exotic matter explosion with her. Will probably dies too, using his connection to Vecna to trap him or weaken him at a crucial moment, giving the others the opening they need. His death would bookend the series perfectly and give meaning to everything he's suffered through. The third death, and this is the one that hurts me most to consider, is probably either Steve or Hopper. Steve because he's the protector who would never leave someone behind, or Hopper because he can't let Eleven sacrifice herself alone and would choose to stay with her. Either way, we're going to be absolutely wrecked by the finale. There's no way this story ends without major casualties, not with the stakes this high and the Duffer Brothers' track record of not pulling punches when it matters.